Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Content Kingdom. It was actually dubbed the Content Corner today, which doesn't sound as intense, but this is an intense place. So it's the Content Kingdom. Just finished up some dinner, had a meal from a Southwest fast food chain. I won't say which one because they have not sponsored us yet, but when they do, I will let you know. Anyways, without further ado, let us get into it on this week's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix recap. All right, we're not going to spend too much time getting into what happened in the race because I know you all watched it, but it looks like teams like McLaren, Williams, Haas, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri just aren't going to be doing anything this year, so we can write them off. I know some of us will need them on our fantasy teams, but besides that, it looked like they are not going to be making an impact in this year's races. We have Alpine, who looks like they're just going to hang around in the middle of the pack, maybe be finishing 8th and 9th each week. Ferrari does not look as strong as we thought. They finished 6th and 7th this week. Apparently the track was for them, but they did not come through. Mercedes right up there with a car that they've admitted is not a great car, so their drivers are getting it done. Good for them. Aston Martin performed well. One of their drivers performed well. The other car failed and didn't finish the race. And then we have our boys at Red Bull getting it done. Perez winning it all, going from pole in qualifying and just taking it. Winning the whole race. Verstappen, very impressive. Went from 15th because his car shut down on him in qualifying and he brought it back to second place, only 5 seconds behind Sergio Perez, and he brought home the fastest lap to boot. So overall, I mean, kind of an exciting race in the fact that we got to watch Verstappen go from 15th and pass everybody and get up to second. And I'm sure if he had a little more time, he would have caught Perez as well. Verstappen looks like a beast. That's all I'll say. So that's kind of a recap on what the heck went down in Saudi Arabia. All right, so let's talk about some of the drama that we saw in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. We had 2 cars not finish the race. We had Stroll, the Stroll Troll, didn't finish the race. His car had energy recovery issues. I don't know what that means. One day I might. We also had Alex Albon not finish the race. Ugh, man, he was probably going to win. Not. He had terminal brake issues. Again, I don't know what that means, but it did not work out well for our man Alex Albon. Then we had drama with our man Alonso. So at the very start, he lined up, I guess not like straight ahead in his little cubby. And I'll see if I can put a picture up here, but he didn't line up straight. So the FIA gave him a 5-second penalty, which he served that penalty when there was a safety car. So he came in, served the penalty, got out of there. Then finishes the race, 3rd place, yada, yada, yada. Then the FIA comes in after he's like given the 3rd place trophy and everything. And they're like, oh, wait a second. One of your mechanics touched your car before the 5-second penalty was over. Kind of like we had with Ocon last week. So the FIA said, okay, you now have a 10-second penalty put on you after the race. Therefore, George Russell gets 3rd. So they go give the trophy to George Russell, the 3rd place trophy. George Russell gets it. Then Aston Martin then, I guess, challenges this ruling. And then after even the ceremony's over, the challenge goes through. And it was something to do with like it actually being legal for whoever's behind the car, like jack it up. You can do that apparently before the 5-second penalty is over. So Aston Martin then had the ruling re-overturned and Alonso gets put back into 3rd place. So a lot to do about nothing, as old Bill Shakespeare would say. Lastly, we had drama between our 2 Red Bull dudes. Who would have thought? So Perez finished in 1st. and thought he had the fastest lap, which would have given him first place overall in the World Championship points. Our buddy Verstappen said, no, no, no. And he took the fastest lap on the very last lap of the race. And it sounded like maybe the team was telling him not to do that, but Verstappen just said, screw it. I'm doing it anyways. And Perez was not aware of this and seemed a little bit PO'd after the race. Check this clip out.
Up in there? On the last lap, yeah. Were you not told to give the pace? 33.0, yeah. But then I asked what was the fastest lap, and I think it was only 10 faster than what we were doing.
So that is what we have there for drama. Hopefully that's enough for you guys. I think it'll be interesting if Perez and Verstappen really start getting into it. Because those are, I mean, their car is the best, it seems. So it doesn't seem like anyone else is going to be touching them. But maybe, maybe a little bit of inner team drama will bring them down a peg, and we will see some other teams getting into the fold. Time will tell. All right, here we go. Let's talk about this one segment that might be a bust this year, but we shall see. We got the Smooch. So our man Perez took the win. He's married, I know that, and we did not see his wife to congratulate him as he finished the race. He kept the helmet on. We saw no smooching. So a little bit disappointed in that, but I'm hoping that maybe when we go to Australia, the wives and girlfriends will want to be at the race, and maybe we'll see our winner get a big old smooch. Now let's get into what we've all been waiting for. Let's talk about what went down last week in the Fantasy League, baby. Send it 3. So I'll start with the podium this week. In third place, we had 3 teams. Everybody get on up here. We had Better Call Gene, baby. We had Chow Baby 3 in third place. And we had Chuzzy Supreme in third place. So we had 3 of people up there popping champagne, spraying everybody. In second place, we had, coming from way back, Magic Man, number 1. Showing his form from last year. Seems like he's figured it out back on the podium. Nice work, Magic Man, number 1. Last but not least, in first place, coming from way back, we had formerly known as FKA, my buddy Charles, now known as Reese Bobby, taking the win this week in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Nice work. It looks like our man Reese Bobby played his 3X chip, first one to play a chip, and it paid dividends. So it looks like Reese might not be going for the overall win, but he is going to go for a couple of Grand Prix wins to try and sneak that Grand Prix prize at the end of the year. So really exciting stuff going on in fantasy. That's all I can say. All right, now let's talk about the weekly Bones Challenge. We had the classic situation where we had 3 questions in the Bones Challenge, and not a lot of people got them right. First question was, which driver was going to have the most pit stops? That was our dude, Valtteri Bottas. And actually, we had some people get this right. So we had No Stopping Me 2.0, shout out, way to get that right. We had Highway to Hell coming in hot with a point there. And last but not least, we had El Dia getting that right. So we had 3 people hit the jackpot there. Then we have the question of who will move up the most places during the race. Nobody would have guessed Max Verstappen moved up the most. Last but not least, which team had the slowest pit stop? We had, let's see, looks like we had 4 people get this right. It was McLaren, just slow all around. Shout out to the Washington F1 team. Way to go. Where's Danny Ricks? You knew. that just because Danny Ricks is no longer on McLaren, now they are super slow. Redeem Team, way to go. Redeem Team 23, nice. And I'll change this later. You knew it as well. So those 4 teams, way to go. And now let me give you guys a little look here at the 7 teams this week who scored points in the Bones Challenge. We had No Stoppin' Me 2.0. We had the Washington F1 team. We had Where's Danny Ricks. We had Redeem Team 23. We had, I'll change this later, and last but not least, we had the 2 teams of El Dia and Highway to Hell. Okay, so here we go. As you guys know, there are 3 ways to win cash money this season. That's going to be for whoever wins the most Grand Prix, whoever wins the overall Weekly Bones Challenge, and then the top 3 teams in the overall finishing of the league will get some cash money. So let's take a quick look at what the standings are. So for the overall Grand Prix wins, we have our friend Race Highlights got the first win of the season at Bahrain with a killer performance. And then this week we had Reese Bobby play his 3X chip and take the win in Saudi Arabia. So right now, no clear winner, a lot of the season to go, anybody's game in the Grand Prix wins. Now, if we take a quick look at our Weekly Bones Challenge scoreboard right up here, looks like we have 2 teams tied for first right now. We have Chuzzy Supreme and Washington F1 team, both with 2 Weekly Bones Challenge points. So those are our leaders right now. There are maybe 9 other teams that have at least 1 point, and then everybody else has no points in the Weekly Bones Challenge category. Last but not least, let's take a quick look at our top 5 teams and our bottom 5 teams in the overall rankings of the Fantasy League. So in first place, we have Chuzzy Supreme. Just took the crown from Race Highlights. So we have Chuzzy Supreme in first. Better Call Gene is in second place. Race Highlights fell to third place. No Mikey No is sitting pretty in fourth place, and Stroll Toll Racing down into 5th place this week. So that's our top 5. Very close match there, so we'll see what happens. Let's take a look then at our bottom 5. A couple teams need to pick it up a little bit. We got my man Highway to Hell. Might need to change that team up a little bit, get you back up into heaven. We have Where's Danny Ricks. You got to do better. El Dia moving up slowly but surely. Team Gastown. Yikes, down in 22nd. And then we have our friend Turtle in the Hair bringing up the rear, but big things coming for Turtle in the Hair. I can feel it. So that's an overall look at what's going on. Okay, so hopefully that didn't take up too much of anyone's time. Quick recap on what's going on in the fantasy F1 world, and I guess a little bit of what's going on in the F1 world, but I know there's people out there that can do a lot better coverage than I can, so I'm going to stick to what I'm good at, and that is the fantasy coverage. We got some more subscribers to the YouTube channel, which is exciting. We're sitting at 22 right now, so we are skyrocketing to the moon. So keep telling your friends about what we got going on, because we know they're going to want to watch. That's all I got. Over and out. See you guys in Australia.